Payday, the Heist, may have received middling reviews in 2011, yet few could deny it offered anything less than a thrilling cooperative experience. The bank robber fantasy invited PC and PlayStation 3 users to assemble crews of 4 to take on daring high-stakes heists. Within a year, over 700,000 players had joined the shooter's criminal underworld, an impressive feat for developer Overkill Software's first game. The studio delivered repeat success 2 years later upon deploying Payday 2, which reviewed marginally better and sold so well that it turned a profit days before launch. Throughout the sequel's lengthy life cycle, Overkill established a steady live service support cadence, as well as quality expectations that fans held in high esteem. Such standards would not be met when the third installment landed a decade later. Beset by dire financial woes, publisher Starbreeze Entertainment had much riding on Payday 3's hopeful commercial success. Initial sales exceeded expectations, but the highs quickly spiraled amid unforeseen server issues that rendered the game unplayable for many users at launch. Technical improvements, gameplay tweaks, and a few highly requested additions rehabilitated the first-person shooter over time. However, year one for Payday 3 proved disastrous all in all. But not even a tumultuous first year could force Starbreeze to sideline its most important property. On the contrary, the company viewed the co-op game's post-release content offerings as but one path on the quest targeting a No Man's Sky-esque redemption arc. Early failings cast a long shadow, though, one the third Payday entry struggled to overcome even during its best days. This is the tragedy of Payday 3. This video has been brought to you in part by UFL. Step onto the pitch where every blade of grass, every move, and every moment feels real. Step into UFL, where thanks to Unreal Engine 5 technology, football comes to life in stunning detail and with lifelike gameplay. In UFL, you have the freedom to build your own club using real-world players. Every decision matters. Every formation, every tactic, every substitution. And the best part? It's all skill-based. Playing UFL isn't about chasing a quick win. You are creating your very own journey, developing your players, climbing the ranks, and shaping a team that reflects your style. Whether it's customizing your kits or creating strategies to outsmart your opponents, UFL puts the experience in your hands. The game is available for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and with the Adidas Team Pass, you can unlock exclusive gear, iconic franchises, and customized stadiums. Complete missions to earn in-game rewards and real-life perks, like 15% off select Adidas products. Best of all, team up with real-life football stars and official UFL ambassadors redefining the game and inspiring fans to elevate their play. UFL. Not only is it fair to play, it's free to play as well. So what are you waiting for? Play for football. Click the link in the description and download UFL today. Originally published by Sony Online Entertainment, Overkill's Payday the Heist was billed as a premier quality game, its emphasis on dynamic heists and unique first-person action taking the industry by storm. Few decision-makers seemed as enamored as Starbreeze Entertainment, the Swedish studio that, at the time, had developed a keen interest in expanding via IP and talent acquisitions. Starbreeze thus purchased Overkill, its properties, and the proprietary diesel engine technology in 2012. Shrewd timing given the developer had already started planning a new Payday release. This joining, along with a 505 Games publishing deal, begat Payday 2, the 2013 sequel which further cemented the series as a cooperative multiplayer staple. The title's meteoric popularity provided Starbreeze the means to broaden its horizons. While one co-founder, Bo Anderson, proactively searched for new investment opportunities, his brother and business partner, Ulf, longed for a return to smaller projects. Such contention culminated in Ulf's exit, and by August 2014, Bo had inked a licensing agreement with Skybound Entertainment for what would later bear the name Overkill's The Walking Dead. From there, the deals and acquisitions continuously piled up as Bo endeavored to mold Starbreeze into a boutique gaming publisher. One bad investment saw the company spend $8 million publishing the ill-fated Raid World War II. Several $1,000,000 more went into purchasing the insufficient Valhalla game engine, a decision that wreaked havoc on the Walking Dead project's production cycle. Amid these questionable choices and myriad others, the company acquired the full Payday rights from 505 Games in May 2016. Confirmation of a Payday 3 endeavor accompanied the news, even as Anderson pledged another 18 months of support for the 2013 entry. Starbreeze would ultimately rely on Payday 2 for much longer.
Rich are we gonna be when you pull this off? And begin.
For years, Payday 2 generated a consistent revenue stream for its parent company's bottom line. That didn't stop the publisher from ambitiously putting most of its eggs in one basket with Overkill's The Walking Dead. The zombie adventure crashed and burned on release in November 2018, burdened by numerous technical hitches, repetitive gameplay, and rudderless creative direction. Weeks later, Starbreeze executives filed for reconstruction, a last resort move intended to avoid bankruptcy and provide companies with a final chance at alleviating financial hardships. Splitting the outfit into two entities manifested as one such solution in October 2019, with the establishment of New Starbreeze Publishing AB and New Starbreeze Studios AB. By the end of the year, Starbreeze had completed reconstruction, successfully staving off bankruptcy and returning in some part to normal operations. Payday 2 played a significant part in the brighter outlook, since the rollout of 3 paid DLC packs led to higher sales and more concurrent users than anticipated. The CEO at the time, Mikhail Nurmark, believed the DLC's popularity boded well for the future of the franchise, in particular, Payday 3. And to secure a better future for its most important brand, the publisher's higher-ups sought out a partner that would provide financial stability, hence the co-publishing agreement later signed with PlayOn, formerly Koch Media. PlayOn pledged an estimated total investment exceeding $59 million in March 2021, funds set aside for Payday 3's development and marketing, plus 18 months of post-launch games as a service support. This newfangled partnership secured full funding for the work in progress, which already had a 2023 launch window on the docket. Notably, Starbreeze Studios led the production effort, just one of a few noteworthy changes to Payday's status quo. While Overkill's proprietary diesel engine powered the first 2 installments, Starbreeze chose Unreal Engine 4 as the basis for the third outing. Discussing the technology shift in an IGN interview, the then-newest CEO appointment, Tobias Hergrian, admitted Payday 2 developers had waded through a very tricky situation because of an inability to keep the console iteration on par with its PC counterpart. Unreal, on the other hand, afforded a greater sense of parity and stability, thereby allowing the crew to focus more on making the game. The engine swap still presented its share of challenges, according to lead producer Andreas Helpeninger, who told IGN the team especially struggled with capturing the Payday feel. Faithfully recreating what fans expected from the moment-to-moment action required an extensive time investment, beginning with prototyping that only evolved into the further fleshing out of features when Starbreeze knew it had something that genuinely felt like Payday. Retaining the integrity of the series, therefore, guided key game design decisions. Global brand director Almir Listo stressed how Payday 2 went all over the place by trying different things. In developing the third entry, the team prioritized making the experience more mature again, and the hope was that the added layer of maturity would be reflected in the game world's behavior and general atmosphere. Starbreeze identified ways to edge ever close to the gist of the heist fantasy early in production, spawning the creation of Payday 3's heist management system, with one mechanic allowing players to grab civilians and guards to use as human shields for negotiation purposes. Still, the world of Payday 2 pervaded its successor. Set 5 years after the sequel, the news story followed returning characters such as Chains, Dallas, and Hoxton out of retirement. The Payday gang had previously stolen presidential pardons from the White House, further securing their freedom by hanging up their masks and parting ways. Payday 3's narrative forced them back into a life of crime, specifically through an invitation to New York City from Mac, a brand new character portrayed by Ice-T. The NYC setting promised a living, breathing representation of the Big Apple, its playground letting the crew of misfits take full advantage of technological advancements like crypto, mass surveillance, and the dark web. Meanwhile, developers claimed the city itself would flip into chaos and respond accordingly to the gang's decisions. Needless to say, such talk fueled the excitement in the years leading up to the 2023 debut. Some concerns arose in the final months, however. For one, while a $40 price tag had a consumer-friendly bent, the reasoning raised eyebrows. Listo called it a good price point for the amount of content, namely 8 different heists, with free and paid DLC slated for a staggered release post-launch. Fans who remembered Payday 2's 12 heists on day one questioned the reduced content offerings, though many favored this direction considering assurances that heists would bear complexities unseen in past installments. Pre-launch discourse also became bogged down by skepticism regarding plans to transition from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5 after Payday 3's arrival. The fifth Unreal iteration didn't exist when production started, but developers were won over by the myriad upgrades upon looking further into its inner workings. Penninger argued that making the switch mid-development would have put the core experience at risk, so the post-release transition made sense from a development point of view. Though games like Fortnite had previously upgraded to UE5 with little issue, questions arose about how the swap would affect Payday 3's pre-existing system requirements. The studio shared no answers in this respect. Either way, the public soon learned Starbreeze had bigger problems on its hands. At last count, in early 2023, Payday enjoyed a user base of 40 million players, with Payday 2 specifically generating the most income for Starbreeze Entertainment by far. Payday 3 seemed primed to raise the heist-centric brand to greater heights. Beta sessions on PC and Xbox platforms didn't suggest otherwise. Player impressions labeled it a fun romp, despite concerns about the game's shaky performance. But the 3-day early access period highlighted another problem: server issues. While account server crashes and technical errors vexed some early access participants, such troubles escalated exponentially in the days and weeks following Payday 3's late September 23 launch on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Game Pass. Players who'd long awaited the Heist game's arrival were met with matchmaking hindrances and server crashes on day one. Since so many were unable to play at all, the community wasted no time demanding an offline mode. Tobias Hergren responded on his personal Twitter account apologizing for the infrastructure not holding up as expected. Starbreeze soon thereafter claimed the servers were running in full force. This proved incorrect, as users continued to encounter matchmaking errors. As the effects of Payday 3's calamitous rollout persisted, Hergren promised the studio would evaluate the possibility of integrating an offline mode. Notably, the source of the deficient server strength had been found in the meantime, the blame placed squarely on Starbreeze's third-party matchmaking partner. Studio representatives said in a statement that the matchmaking software encountered an unforeseen error, rendering it inadequate against a massive influx of players, thus explaining why beta users never faced similar hiccups. And while an updated version of the software went live 3 days after the Payday release, it again introduced instability to the matchmaking infrastructure. Players were assured the third-party partner would quickly deliver a fix. For its part, Starbreeze prioritized providing a better experience in the short term. The long-term solution revolved around evaluating a new partner for matchmaking services, as well as making the title less reliant on online connectivity. Matchmaking stabilized by late September, allowing the crew to resume regular update development. In confirming as much, the company also unveiled a tentative roadmap for the rest of 2023. The syntax error DLC would arrive sometime during the winter months, but the promise of 200-plus quality-of-life improvements in an early October patch especially grabbed the community's attention. Starbreeze originally scheduled the update for October 5th. The date came and went with little to no communication regarding its whereabouts. Finally, users were informed of the patch's delay in the middle of the month, the reason being that developers had identified an urgent problem. Worst still, the player count was rapidly dwindling, ejecting Payday 3 from the top 100 most played games on Steam. Even the 2013 sequel boasted a higher number of concurrent users. The wait for the big patch lasted nearly 4 weeks due to critical errors that would have wiped player progress had it been deployed prematurely. Patch 1.01's November 3rd arrival brought exhaustive changes, including broken achievement fixes, PS5 aim assist improvements, crash-related solutions, and fixes that addressed technical, audio, and visual bugs. Though plentiful, these changes didn't solve everything. Players still coveted an offline mode, for instance. In addition, many longed for a progression overhaul, having grown frustrated with the system's challenges that seemed arbitrary and unnatural. Subsequent months saw Payday 3 navigate numerous ups and downs. In an interim financial report in November 2023, CEO Tobias Hergrian noted initial sales had exceeded expectations, resulting in Starbreeze recouping its investment up until launch. Unfortunately, the rocky release offset these gains, preventing Payday from maintaining good momentum and consequently leading to somewhat lower sales after the launch window. Hergrian and company remained confident about future growth, feelings propelled by the internal commitment to extensive live service support plans. Ignoring regular patches, the service aspect kicked into gear once the Chapter 1 Syntax Error DLC went live in December, introducing a new enemy, cosmetics, and weapons. Payday 3 had a long road ahead in terms of correcting course, though, and higher-ups knew it. A January 2024 blog post featured cursory details about a strike team of veteran developers assembled in-house to better transform feedback into action. As a response to fan disappointment, the strike team set its sights on ensuring Payday could meet user expectations, but promises held only so much weight, evidenced by sales and player activity falling to significantly lower levels than anticipated based on Starbreeze's year-end report. PlayOn and Starbreeze had no intention of giving up on the underperforming title, instead vouching to prioritize its rehabilitation. Statements in the year-end report recalled how other AAA projects had endured a similarly poor release, then repositioned themselves for long-term success. There existed no simple recipe for achieving such ends, but Payday's stewards acknowledged that positive examples shared the common denominator of taking their community's criticism to heart. However, after the strike team announcement, the first change of consequence targeted the C-suite, with Tobias Hergrian being replaced as CEO following his 3-year tenure. Board member and former Focus Entertainment CEO Jürgen Goldner took over in an interim capacity in March 2024. Interestingly, Chairman Torny Hellstrom made no mention of Payday 3 when explaining Hergrian's dismissal. The board merely decided the execution of strategy needed different leadership. User-requested adjustments started rolling out at a quicker clip in subsequent weeks. For example, an April update finally added a much-coveted quick play option to better facilitate multiplayer matches. The patch additionally included player merging so Payday's heisters could vote to stay together as a party post-game. Patch 1.14 engendered the most sweeping changes, courtesy of its introducing the long-in-development progression overhaul in May. Despite a well-intentioned design, the original system never gained favor. Filled with alienating challenges, progression in its launch state forced players to experiment with different playstyles and loadouts, inadvertently punishing those who had their preferences. Technical hiccups that hindered challenge completion or disrupted reward earnings further exacerbated what Starbreeze itself described as a suboptimal system. The solution removed challenges and rewarded players based on the number of bags secured during each heist, as well as loot quality. Therefore, crews who cleaned the jewelry on dirty ice received more infamy points than those who employed a grab-and-go approach. And infamy point payouts for completing heists were rebalanced to compensate for the challenge system's absence. Community impressions ranged far and wide. Some hailed patch 1.14 as Payday 3's best update. Others argued it was merely a small step in the right direction. Meanwhile, a contingent of lapsed players felt the progression rework wasn't enough to inspire their return. Starbreeze's deployment of an offline mode proved similarly divisive because it constituted a solo mode beta that still demanded internet connectivity. The beta version ensured developers could test functionality before instituting a permanent offering. This exercise in caution stemmed from expectations of performance taking a hit, since the player's hardware would bear the burden of managing the parts normally front-loaded by Starbreeze's servers. Regardless, lacking communication about when a legitimate offline option would go live didn't inject the discontented community with much confidence. Yet, Payday 3 and its roadmap of post-launch support had ample chances to win back core audiences, starting with Chapter 2, Boys in Blue DLC, which debuted in June 2024. A third chapter, Houston Breakout, premiered a couple of months later, and a two-part fourth chapter, Fear and Greed, closed out the year in September and October. Each content update featured paid DLC boasting a new heist and weapons, alongside freebies like playable characters and masks. Payday 3 underwent another major leadership shuffle in between DLC drops. In September, game director Mio Kovacevic stepped down and assumed the role of designer, while lead producer Andreas Helpeninger and global brand director Almir Listo were appointed as the creative force to guide Year 2 updates. What this shift means for long-term leadership remains unclear, but the two co-leads have high hopes for the future. Speaking with PC Games N in an October 2024 interview, Penninger labeled Payday 3's disastrous release a product of the studio not doing its due diligence. Overconfidence from Payday 2's success begat hastily made decisions which alienated the player base. Penninger and Listo insist that state of mind has since been abandoned, although some growing pains persist. For instance, Listo believes Payday 3 suffers from a split personality by trying to be too many things at once, producing a stronger core fantasy around more tense, open-ended, and rewarding heists, thus represents the guiding light for the development crew going forward. Unforced, unforeseen, and unfortunate errors brought the once-celebrated series to its knees in a tragedy that longs for a happy ending. Whether or not Payday's third outing will see redemption remains unknowable. Year 2 could mark a triumphant return to form. Plus, the awaited Unreal Engine 5 upgrade, sidelined to reallocate resources towards improving the game, may significantly boost performance, possibly giving the gang yet another shot at the big time. Thank you for watching our video. We'd like to take this time to thank, by name, the generous Patreons who have pledged to our Hall of Fame reward tier. Disco Cobra 2013, Ice Cold Water $1, Karu, Sauerkraut, Shuan Chinwin, Fat Green Dragon, and those currently subscribed to our producer reward tier: Adam Miller, Brock Piviroto, Darirab Sigurdsson, Dave Oshry, DCX NG, DJ Redden, Eric Bedio, Fallen Asterisk, It's Peanut Butter, Crash Course, Jaguar Knot, Jan Christofferson, Matthew McLaughlin, Rebobbed, Roberto Nieves, Sir Alex, C-Rob Kaysen, Taylor Moten, Your B. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to our channel and backing us on Patreon.